Hey guys, I'm back with a new Genshin Impact video. In today's video, I'm doing a character tier list for strongest characters when they're maxed out at level 90 with max constellations. Now, I make this monthly tier list every month. It seems since you guys really enjoyed my last two tier lists. Yeah, really enjoyed them, huh? But I love making these. This is my opinion on tier lists, and let's jump right into it. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Let me explain you guys a little bit about the tier list. So I removed a tier this time, and I have the SS, the strongest column, and then S, which is also a strong column. So if I put any character in S or SS, it means they're strong. It doesn't mean that they're bad in any way, even though I put them lower than the SS. S is still a strong character. A is decent, and B is decent minus. So all maxed out characters, I think we all can agree on, are strong. You can max out even Amber and make her super strong. But if you have them maxed out level 90 max con with same artifacts, some characters will be a little better than the others. So I will also be ranking on my preference some characters stronger than others. Let's say if I put Albedo and Ganyu in SS, if I like Ganyu more than Albedo, I will put her in front of him on the list. That means they're still strong, but that's the character I prefer the most because it's my tier list after all. It's my opinion. But if you guys agree or disagree, let me know in the comments below. Last video I made on this, you guys asked me a lot about your team setups and your team comp, and I answered every single question. So if you guys have any questions about your team setup, let me know and I'll do my best to answer them. So let's jump right into it. I don't want to make it too long, so I'm gonna try to be quick on each character and start with the newest character because obviously that's why you guys clicked. So Ganyu is actually the newest character. She's a cryo character, and she is a goat, or literally the goat, and I will put her in SS, strongest character. The reason I put her in SS is because she's a great support, a great secondary DPS, and can be a great main DPS. Her ultimate is ridiculous. It can have an uptime always, constantly, creates a cryo area and does cryo damage over time. You can have it on all the time, especially with the max Ganyu and with the good artifacts with energy recharge. You can have it constantly on at all times. And then you have the E skill, which is an aggro skill, which can gather strong enemies or group of enemies, which can be amazing for Spiral Abyss or other boss enemies if you have to switch character and get some aggro off your other main DPS if you're using her as sub DPS support. She uses a bow, so she has that range, and her bow actually does AoE damage, which is ridiculous as a bow user. And she adds cryo effect, which cryo, I always prefer cryo as one of the top tier elements in the game. So definitely an SS character. Let's keep it going. Let's go with Albedo. Albedo is also SS. I would usually put him in the lower SS tier. We will fix it later when I add more characters. Albedo is a sword user and a Geo character. His constellations really focus on his E skill, but I think he shines the most with his ultimate skill, which does an AoE damage. I feel like he's very alike Zhongli. They have a lot of similarities with the AoE damage down from the ultimate and having an E skill, which what is this? The platform that comes out, it does damage. Now, I wish his constellation would more focus on his ultimate and not his E skill, because I found his E skill, it could be really strong if you have the right artifacts, but it compared to other characters, other 5-star characters, the E skill isn't as strong. So I feel like it's kind of a waste that the constellation are focused on it, but it's still a great character, a Geo character user, and creates particles, and he's a sword user. There's some great swords that he can use for his weapon. So that is Ganyu. Let's keep it going. I'm not going to add Zhao because he's not out and I haven't played him, so I can't really give an opinion on him. But let's keep it going. I think the character that came out before Albedo was Zhongli, right? If I'm not completely wrong here. So I got Zhongli, and honestly, I was kind of disappointed with Zhongli. I really was hoping that he would be a main DPS. He's another G character, uses a spear. His ultimate is super strong. I really like his ultimate. But for him to shine really good, he want to have another Geo in his team. You can play him as a support. That's usually how you want to build him, as a support character. So I'm gonna end up putting Zhongli in S strong. They said Genshin Impact or MiHoYo said they were gonna make some changes on him, but haven't seen any yet. But I'm gonna put him in a high tier S character. He is very strong, and I don't like his E skill at all unless you have combining with another G character like Ningguang or even Albedo, or even the MC. He can do some really good damage. But the reason I'm putting him as strong is his ultimate is ridiculous, especially if you can keep it going for every 6 seconds, because that 12-second cooldown, and because it adds like a stun effect if you have a max constellation, and the stun effect lasts for like 6 seconds. And the cooldown for the elemental burst is 12 seconds, so you can keep it going every 6 seconds, and that one is super strong. So I think he's like a lower Albedo. So I'm putting him in the S column. Let's keep it going. I think it's the next one is Xinyan. Xinyan, I hope I'm saying it correctly. Xinyan, first when I did some research on her, I will admit I was kind of wrong where I put an A decent last time, but I think Xinyan is an S tier character. She uses a claymore. She's a fire or a pyro character. Her E skill unleashes pyro damage and adds a shield, which is super nice because if you use her as a main DPS or even a secondary DPS, she could be really good by herself without having a healer or a shield character that can shield you. Later in the game, end game, shielding becomes really important. You want to have some kind of shield around you because the characters start taking a lot of damage if your world level is super high. So she can provide that herself with her E at a nice pyro shield. And her ultimate can do some amazing number of damage, and not only does it pyro damage, it also does physical damage, so you can have insane physical and pyro damage at the same time. And she's a claymore user, so you will see those hard physical hits from her when fighting enemies, and I find the physical hits super useful when you're fighting different elements or even pyro character. As a pyro, it'll be very useful to defeat the enemies. So I'm putting her in an S strong character. Now, I think the next one on the list must be Childe, if I'm not wrong. Childe is an amazing character. You can use him as I prefer him as a sub DPS, a secondary DPS. But you can also use him as a main DPS. He's not support at all. Hydro character. I think there's a couple main Hydro DPSs like Mona and him. But they're also good sub DPSs. But he uses everything from, he has the bow, he uses a spear, he uses his swords, and overall he's a very fun character to play. He's a little tricky to get used to because if you don't know how to use his skills properly, you might mess up and start using like a bow when you're supposed to be melee range and not combine him good with other characters. But when you finally know how to use him, he's a super strong character. He does some incredible DPS if with his bow or with his swords or with his spear, and the damage is very high overall. So he's a great character. I'm putting on SS strong, and combining Hydro with the cryo and getting that freeze effect is just amazing. So SS for Childe. And then the next one must be Diona, right? Diona is one of my favorite healers. She's on my main team, and Diona is an S strong character. I want to put her in SS, but I'm gonna put her in S for now. The reason for that is that Diona provides a really nice shield and adds a cryo effect. The shield is super strong against cryo and against other elements, and especially if you max her con and max her out with her HP, her shield can last a long time because her shield strength is based on her HP. So she has a cryo effect, so if you have like an Electro in your team, you can add super conduct and you can do some incredible damage. And she does, when you use her E skill, she adds a shield, but she also does damage to the enemy, adding cryo effect, which is really cool. And you can switch around how you want to have, how much you want to use the shield, when you have a small shield or a larger shield, or if you just want to add a cryo effect on the enemy. Especially if you have her elemental burst, if you cap her HP, you can do some nice healing too. So she's one of my favorite healers because she adds a shield, and a shield again is super useful, especially in the end game contents. So that is her. And now let's keep it going. I think the one they introduced before Childe was Klee, if I'm not completely wrong here. So Klee is an SS strong DPS. I kind of misplaced her in the last video. Klee is amazing. She does some insane damage numbers. One of the highest damage numbers or DPS in my opinion. She adds her E skill is amazing. She has all those bombs she puts on the field. Her ultimate is amazing. You combine her, if you combine her with the animal character like Venti or Sucrose, you will see some amazing numbers, especially if you have another pyro in the team to increase the pyro damage or damage overall. She does high DPS, she has the range also, and overall just an amazing character. SS, good DPS, and not much more I can say about her, but you can't go wrong with having her in the team. Let's move around a little bit of these characters. I want to put Klee in front of Albedo and Childe in front of Albedo too. And down here, I'm okay with this down here. Now, I think I've taken most of the new characters into account. I think I only have the older characters now, if I'm not wrong. But let's keep adding the characters now. I want to start the next one with Xinyan. Xinyan, I feel like is one of the strongest support characters. I think I want to put her in S strong. I want to put her in SS, but I'm gonna put her in SS actually. Put her below Albedo and SS. Now, if you guys haven't watched my Xingqiu support video, I will highly advise you guys to check it out. Xingqiu, or how you want to say Jing. You guys always like get mad at me at how I pronounce her name, but her support is amazing. All her skills, you can have them out while not having her out at all. So she's a very good complementary DPS to any main DPS you have in the team. She works good with Keqing, with the Razor, with Diluc, with Xinyan, with basically any main DPS. She would add a nice effect. It will feel like the damage she's providing is actually coming from your main DPS because she's not out in the field at all, and she's one of the best support DPSs. Now let's keep talking about some more 4-star characters like Bennett. Bennett is also an SS tier character. I would actually put her in front of Xingqiu. The reason is Bennett is an amazing support character. You don't have to build him perfectly. You just have to build him with a good base attack, with a good weapon that gives good base attack. His healing is incredible, especially if you have him max constellation. His healing is incredible from the his ultimate, and the ultimate increases DPS. Now, if you have a main DPS with high attack, they can get a DPS boost by over 1k attack, which is incredible. So adding that, adding the pyro effect, adding the healing effect, you usually don't need another healer in your team if you have Bennett. So he's, if not the best support in my opinion in the game currently. And he's only a 4-star. He looks like a complete side character, let's be real, but he does some crazy damage. Let's keep it going. Xingqiu, is that how you pronounce him? I actually like him. He's a Hydra character. I wasn't a big fan of him early, but his E skill, adding those swords around you as protection, is incredible because the swords around him, they add both Hydra effect on the enemy and leaves your character with a defensive shield. So they have to break the swords to be able to damage the characters, and you can use them and provide them to the other characters in your team. Now, I'm not a big fan of his E skill because there is no 2 variation of it. It's 20-second long cooldown, and it's like a Hydra attack. So I'm not a big fan of the E skill, but I really like the swords, and I think he's an amazing support character to have in your team. Against cryo enemies, you're kind of gonna struggle. So I'm not the biggest fan of Hydra. I think they're one of the lower what do you call it, especially as support, they're one of the lower elements to have, or lower tier elements to have in your team. But overall, a really strong character to have, adds a good defense and support to your team. Let's keep it going. We're going to do Amber. Let's do Amber. Amber is basically a really bad Ganyu. Okay, now you guys can argue with me all you want. You can say, hey, I have seen some videos with some incredible Ambers. Yes, you can max out an Amber and find the best artifacts for her. But if you compare a max out Amber with another maxed out character, the other character is just gonna do way more DPS overall than Amber. She has a nice aggro bear that can help you aggro. Her Q, she can add some pyro effects. Her constellations aren't that great. They give like a small buff. So I'm just gonna put her in the lowest tier, right? On B, decent minus. Now you can still make a good Amber. That's what decent means. You can still make a good Amber, but overall, if you compare it with others, she's not that great. Now let's start up with another bow character that uses a bow, Venti, animal user. My favorite 5-star character. Venti is incredible. If you guys don't have Venti, you guys missed out. Venti is one of the best, it is the best AoE DPS for a lot of group monsters. The ultimate is ridiculous, and the ultimate requires just a small amount of energy recharge to keep spamming it. So you can keep spamming it. If you have the Anemo set and the swirl effect, you can do some incredible numbers with Venti. I really advise you guys, if you've never seen him in combat, check out some Venti videos. I'm gonna make one of my own soon, but he makes spirals so easy. He makes commission farms so easy. He makes any type of farming so easy. You just stand, you use your ultimate, you use your E skill, you have your ultimate again, you're just chilling. So you can combine Venti with character, like any character like Klee, and they gather the enemies together, and you could just use ultimates from your other character and do some amazing damage. I usually let Venti carry one of the spiral runs himself because he's that ridiculous. Let's start off with the MCs now. I'm gonna rank the GeoMC on A decent. I think Geo is better than the AnemoMC. He's the free-to-play character, and he combines really good with Zhongli. So Zhongli and the MC, because of their E skill, they can do some really good Geo damage. And the ultimate is okay. I still think they need to fix the skills of the MC. I don't understand why they haven't done it, because they bug out a bunch. You know, enemies reset. Some enemies just end up on top of the structures. But it's a good sub DPS, and if you're super free to play and new to the game, it can be a good main DPS for a while to have in your team. Next one is the AnemoMC. AnemoMC is with Amber. I don't like the ultimate at all. It's a whirlwind that spawns and just goes across the map. It's very ineffective, not even close to Venti's ultimate or Sucrose's. It's just like a decent character. Not a big fan of the E skill. If you want to have a character that adds swirl effect, there's so many better Anemo users than the MC. So lowest tier, and let's keep going with Anemo since we have Sucrose next. Sucrose is an S support tier character. You can also use, so I see some amazing Sucrose main DPSs which do amazing damage, but if you actually want to use Sucrose to its full potential, or her full potential, you want to have her as a support. She does amazing elemental mastery boost to your DPSs. So if you have like characters like Klee, she works really good with Klee and other characters, and she adds an amazing damage boost to those characters. If you have like a one main DPS like Klee, and then you have Sucrose and Bennett as a support, you will be seeing some amazing numbers, is all I'm saying. Now the video is getting long, so we're gonna try to be a little faster through the characters. Razor, I want to put Razor in an SS. If you guys have seen my Razor videos, you guys know that Razor is incredible to have, but I'm gonna put him in S for now. Try to be a little objective, even though it's my tier list and I can be as subjective as I want. I'm gonna put him as the top of the S tier list. The reason for that is, the only reason I put him below SS is because he requires a lot of time out on the field. So you want to have like a nice supporting cast around him because of his elemental burst. That's the only reason. His damage is above most of the main DPSs. His electro and physical damage is unique because he can do both electro and physical damage with his elemental burst, and his energy recharge is incredible. Again, his damage and attack speed is incredible. His burst lasts for a long time, so he can be versatile and switch into different enemies with it. And he can basically fight against even electro enemies and do incredible. Only reason I'm putting him in the S is because it requires some time out in the field, and you will need a nice support cast around him. But he's very close to an SS rank. But I'm sorry, I love my Razor, but I'm gonna try be a little objective. Next one is Qiqi. Qiqi is by far the strongest healer in the game. I'm putting Qiqi next to Ganyu. Incredible healing. She adds like an effect on the enemy and you damage the enemy and you get amazing healing, like max HP instantly. Cryo effect that she adds is amazing. Healing she adds is amazing. And she can even make her, some people made her DPS, so she can do some crazy DPS numbers on some targets. So I wish I had Qiqi. I have Diona right now, but I wish I had Qiqi for at least my secondary team, because Diona works really good nice with Razor, so I want to have her as with my Razor. But Qiqi, definitely want to find a way to add her to my secondary team or something if I ever play with her. So she's amazing in my opinion, and the best healer by far. The only weakness that she has is she can't add any shields, but her healing makes up for it. Now a Noelle. Now this is interesting. A max constellation Noelle, a 6 constellation Noelle, is an SS tier DPS easily. However, if your Noelle has 5 constellations, she goes down to A. You need to have a 6 con Noelle to be able to have an SS DPS, because when Noelle reaches the 6 con, she gets damage increase from her defense stats. So if you have a nice artifact with defense, her ultimate can keep going all the time as long as she defeats enemies, and her E has a nice shield, so you can constantly have her out and keep just using her ultimate and doing some amazing DPS. Noelle can reach up to 4 to 5k attack with the right artifacts, and she is ridiculous as a 6 constellation Noelle. That's all I have to say about her. But if you don't have a 6 con Noelle, she is a lower tier for sure. Ningguang is an S tier. I actually put her ahead of Zhongli. Ningguang does some incredible DPS with her ultimate, and her E barrier is also really amazing to deflect damage. If you get used to playing her pretty well, she's a very good character to have in your team. Great to combine with characters like Zhongli, and she's a 4-star, so it's very easy to try to max constellation her to make her a super strong Geo DPS. Geo is always nice, so our elemental particles and her like burst with her elemental burst is ridiculous. Mona is an SS tier character. Can you still see her? My tier list, you know, it's kind of getting out of the screen here, but Mona is amazing. I'm putting Mona, I think hard to tell here. Let's do like this. I'm happy with this. Mona, I'm gonna put her in front of a child. The reason is Mona actually has 3 skills compared to other characters, or 4 skills, whatever you want to say. Her ultimate can maybe makes the highest numbers out of all DPSs. You can see some people doing like 300k DPS with her ultimate. It is ridiculous. Her damage is insane. Her E skill is the aggro skill that she aggros people together and does damage, and then she has another skill where she goes under the ground and she uses her E skill if you touch the target with the E skill, which is she's super versatile. Good damage. You can have it as a sub DPS, as a main DPS, and overall she works great with most teams, adding the hydro effect, but her damage is full hydro. So that is a Mona. Now let's move on to Lisa. Lisa, in my opinion, is I'm gonna struggle here. Either I'm gonna put her in A decent. The reason I'm putting her in A decent is she has a nice ultimate. She has a nice electro field that she puts and does damage with. Her E skill, I'm not a big fan of her E skill because of the animation. I think it is such a waste with her personality, because I know everybody loves Lisa for her personality, you know. But her E skill, I'm not a big fan. She takes a long time to use her E skill. Her constellations aren't that great either. You want to have her as support if you do have her, so I'm just giving her an A decent. Kaeya is about the same as Lisa. Kaeya works really great as a support with characters like Childe, even like maybe even Ganyu. Like, adds a cryo effect with his elemental burst is very nice. But that's about it. I'm not a fan of the E skill at all. The elemental burst is nice because you add this nice cryo, what do you call it, force field around you, and it does damage when you touch enemies with it, adding a nice cryo effect. Overall, just a decent, not any good constellations on him, and not there's so many better cryo characters than him, so I'm just putting on a decent. Next up is Barbara. I would put Barbara at highest A tier, maybe low S tier, but highest A tier. The reason is Barbara is an amazing healer. She's a free healer you get in the start. Her max constellation, she's really great too. That's the reason I want to put her in a low S. I'm not putting her A decent because you can revive a whole character to full HP. Her E, she adds a nice healing effect and adds a Night Hydra effect on targets. However, you will find a lot of cryo characters using her and you will get frozen constantly. So healer wise, she's an amazing healer and you will have no problem surviving. The only problem is if you fight enemies that are cryo, you get frozen a lot. That's the only reason I don't like running Barbara, and she doesn't add a shield, so she will just add healing, and shields again are really important in the end game. Let's keep going. We have here, who do we have that we can put in the low brackets for it? I want to put Beidou. Beidou is highest A tier, low S tier, but I'm putting it in high A tier. The only reason I'm doing this is because her E is very strong. The counter is super nice to have. You can do some crazy numbers with it. She's a claymore user, so she does a lot of good physical damage, and to have her as a main DPS is nice. However, her elemental burst isn't the best. Some people don't even max her elemental burst because it's kind of useless on her, because her counter is where you will see the highest damage, and you will have to learn how to use her too. So that's why I'm putting her in A decent. But if you know how to use her properly, she is an S character or claymore user. But let's keep it going. Now we're gonna go to Chongyun. Chongyun is an S strong character. I'm gonna put him in a lower list. He's a claymore user. However, I feel like he is more of a sub DPS or a support character. Usually when you have a claymore user, you want to have them as your main DPS in the team. But he has a nice cryo field around you and does some nice cryo damage with his E skill. However, I don't see him as a main DPS. That's the only reason I'm not putting him on SS or that's why I'm putting him in the low S tier. Now with this new artifact set, he's really incredible with the cryo effect. So you can maybe kind of use him as a main DPS, but there's better options, so I wouldn't advise you guys to do it. All right, let's keep it going. I had to move a little bit, but let's talk about Diluc. Diluc is Diluc. There's not much to say about him. He's one of the strongest, if not, I think he's the strongest claymore user. The really nice thing about him is that he's super versatile. So he does super fast attacks. What was his E? And his ultimate is insane. Like his Phoenix Bird that does incredible fire damage is incredible. He's super fast, so you can have a good support cast around him and a sub DPS around him because you can switch him out and then use his E skill again. So he's very nice to use overall. Super fast claymore user. He's tall, so terrain is no issue for him. So I don't know, not much to say about Diluc. All his constellations are great. His DPS is great. His pirate is great, and he works amazing with basically most of the support cast of this game. But he's the main DPS, of course. Jean is an S character. Anemo, I'm gonna put her below Razor. You know, gotta be a little biased, but her Anemo skills are amazing. Her healing is amazing. She actually adds damage buff or a damage. She has a damage decrease with one of her constellations and her talents. Being Anemo, you can combine her very nicely with your team, and it does some really nice healing overall. It has a nice throw kickback to monsters if you fight them, and overall a very nice character to have in your team. Keqing is an SS SS tier is becoming huge. It's an SS tier character, highest tier, 5-star, Electro DPS, has an amazing burst, has a nice teleportation with her E or charge, or however you want to call it. Nice electro damage, works amazing with support cast. I think she works the best, in my opinion, with support cast in this game. You can combine her with anybody in the game, and even cryo, super conduct. You have combine it with some pyro, you get the overload, and overall a very nice and fast DPS to have in your team, which is Keqing. Last but not least, we have Fischl. Fischl is a 4-star character, but it's also an SS character, in my opinion. Very nice for support and very nice for sub DPS. Her Oz Pro is super nice to use, both her burst and her E skill to add electro effect, and then you can combine her with other characters. But you can't go wrong with her. Her constellations, in my opinion, is one of the best constellations in the game, competing with Razor. But overall, a great character. So let's switch around some characters. Now, this is gonna be my opinion, guys. Now, keep in mind, guys, if you click this video just to click right to the end of the list, I will explain to you guys. Both SS and S are strong characters. You can't go wrong with them, having them in your team. A is also strong characters. The minimal difference between each of these tiers, and it is a subjective opinion, so I'm giving my own opinion on this tier list. If you guys agree or disagree, let me know in the comments below. If you guys have any questions about your team setup, anything, let me know in the comments below and I'll help you guys out. Now, overall, I'm happy with this list. Let's see if we can switch somebody around here. I want to kind of put Fischl ahead of Albedo. I'm happy with this. This is good here. I would have maybe Diona ahead of Eugene here. And then, yeah, I'm happy with this list. And then A tier. Perfect. Now, I'm excited for Zhao. Next month, I'll be making a new tier list with him and the new characters. So make sure you guys like and subscribe. This is my finished tier list. If you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Let's try this time to match the like and dislike to equal numbers, you know, because the first video we had more likes. Next video we have more dislikes. So this time let's try and match them. Okay. Thank you guys, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye bye.